Go ahead and call the meeting, the special call meeting to order. And we'll start with our invocations. Excellent. Please stand and then stay standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Lord, we come to you today and we come again, once again, to do business for the city. And we pray to you that we make good decisions, that we have good discussions. We pray for those that are not with us today and that you be with them. Take care of them as well. Stay with all of us as we go through life, because life just gets in our way sometimes. So be with us as we encounter the things that are difficult for us to encounter. And we thank you for everything that you've given to us.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, roll call. We are missing today Linda Pilgrim and Rachel Davis. And the rest of us are here, which is a forum, so we can continue with the meeting. Before we get to agenda approval, I would like to go ahead and make one change. Under the work session, new business, we are going to put in the number one slot, discussion of the benefit presentation from Globe Life. And then we will renumber the following, number 2 and number 3. And with that being stated, is there a motion on the agenda?
I make a motion to make a change underneath new business for number 1 to be a discussion for the benefit from Globe Life. And then number 2 would be the retirement resolution. Number 3, the retirement resolution DC adoption.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous, thank you both. Strange, just looking this way.
But you're cribbing there now.
I know.
It was not understood.
No, I like this, it's good, okay. So with that being said, we'll go on with the special call meeting under old business. And it is the vote on the fiscal year 2027 budget approval. Do we want to come on up?
Hello.
Good morning.
Not much came after the work session and public hearing following meeting. Councilmember Flanagan had some suggestions that we made. After the suggestions, which will allow. I'm gonna defer to council members and Flanagan to present those changes. However, the characteristics of the changes don't change the character of the budget. They don't increase tax burden to the citizens. I find it practical solutions.
Great, thank you. I've seen you want to review those.
Do you want me to review those or?
Yeah, just go ahead and review those. You don't have to read the whole thing, just review those changes that you.
Okay, the suggestions I had made was number 1, that we increase the cash balance transfer to $83,335 because of $10,000 increase. And my purpose in that or feeling on that was due to some other changes that we were making, we had discussed in our work session, was that since the sign, especially in furniture and fixtures, was going to be a one-time item, that would be a good place to have some of the funds come for that item. And so then that, with that increase, of course, that changed the bottom line. And then the only other 2 changes I had suggested was we add the gas allowance for the mayor to line item and add the line item 52.35.15. Because instead of it being salary, the gas allowance was in lieu of paying gas mileage. So that would be a $900 increase there. And then in order to have everything come like we wanted it based on our discussion of the sign out here at the municipal building as well as the sign at City Hall, change the furniture and fixtures line item to 42,350, which would then make us in the right total for everything. So that is the only changes I would suggest.
What number is the furniture?
5423. 5423.
Okay.
I think that's the only change from the original. If I looked at everything correctly from the original proposal.
Correct. With the exception of electrical, which was oversight, not a change.
Was adjusted.
Yeah, I mean, when I sent my email, there was a note in there of a typo. Well, it wasn't really a typo, but I felt line items were not numerically in order, and I had suggested let's change that before we present it. I don't think that needs to be part of the motion. Okay. So with that said, I will make a motion to accept the 2026-27 budget as presented to council on May 28th with the following changes. The changes include an income change line item, the cash balance transfer from $73,335 to $83,335, which would change the total income line to $1,267,955. Then in expenses, add line item 52.3515 gas allowance and add an amount of $900. Change line item 53.1135 employee uniform from $1,250 to $8,000. Change line item 54.2300 from 40,000 to 42,350. And I didn't write it. But included. Furniture and fixtures was line item category. So change line item 40,000, line item 54.2300 furniture and fixtures from 40,000 to $42,350. Which then changes the total expense to $1,267,955.
For a second.
A second.
But any further discussion?
Yes. I have the total here of $1,267,055. What's the 900?
That was for the gas.
Okay.
Where do you see that?
There and it's on this page.
What do you mean that less than 900?
So this doesn't have the 955.
That's because this was 257, this is 267.
Right, but you said $955.
Oh, did I say 955? Okay.
You did.
Okay, I
And
did.
amend your motion, right?
Yes, well, you mean my motion to the totals for income and expense would be $1,267,055.
Second.
All in favor? You vote your hand.
Unanimous. Thank you for catching that, Eric.
And the fiscal year 27 budget is passed. Thank you both. With that, our next step in the budget process is to vote on the budget resolution. Budget resolution has been included in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the budget resolution? for fiscal year 27.
I make a motion to approve it.
I will second that.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you both. Okay. We will adjourn at, last for a motion to adjourn the special call meeting.
I make a motion, we adjourn the special call meeting and move into work session.
For a second?
No, second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Joe. and-
Congratulations.
Yes, and thank you, Joe. I know what went into it.
Brad too. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go into old business. Discussion on compensation enrollment for elected officials. We don't actually come up and just remind everybody where we are and why we're discussing it again.
So we've had this on our work session since about March, I believe. The goal of this is to be thorough. That way there's not just a public showing, but an ability for a council to consistently talk about new ideas about the compensation of our elected officials. This is threefold in a way. One being the actual compensation or salary or however you want to figure that. Benefits, which right now would include retirement as it's coming. And then after we hear today from Globe Life, there could be a possibility of that as well that we have to be voted on. If elections want to be included, if we adopt that as well. So there's a multifaceted piece of this. You can also include a fourth, depending on how, once we get word back from today about how the mayor's yes. So it could be 4 different pieces of this. What I would like to talk about according to discussion is I am going through DCA right now. There's pretty accurate when it comes to compensation of elected officials. There's survey every year. The criteria I'm going to compare against for our next work session to have the data available is population of comparison cities. Do they levy property tax? The proximity of our area. So that doesn't necessarily mean Metro Atlanta or greater area, but North Georgia, the same characteristics, same challenges budget-wise. Do they have a utility? And do they have a chief administrative officer? Those are good, and that could include a mayor's executive assistant, city manager, or city administrator. So those are going to be the comparison criteria. The goal is for them to have at least 4 to be included in what would be compared to a salary. That way, there's more data available to people to choose against.
So today's discussion is about the actual stipend monthly that the council is looking at.
Correct. If any council member had any other ideas going for future discussion, but I definitely wanted to lay out that there are multiple areas of this that will have to be discussed.
So would it be a good idea to table this until the next discussion, next work session?
I would say for any firm numbers, yes. But if there's any argument of why we should be doing this, and a councilman wants to voice that out, I would recommend that.
Is there any comments or anything? Are you guys comfortable with the discussions that we've had before?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the discussions before, once we make a motion, any amount can be in that motion. And that can, of course, get changed with the ongoing discussion. We can amend the motion according to what the majority is looking at. Should there be a motion, so. Just kind of a reminder of that just because one of us maybe puts up a number, that doesn't mean that's where it has to land. And also in the course of that, I know we have had a lot of discussion back and forth about what is this stipend? So. And that might be something that we want to, if we want to have more discussion, I think that would be more along the lines of what would help us out with that. So. Okay. If you're ready to think about kind of what they might want to have in that discussion, otherwise I would move that we table this to the next work session when we have more.
Joe, will you be able to have all that information in the next work session?
Absolutely, and one more little piece is ECA also shows how those stipends paid. There is per occurrence on some cities. Usually they per occurrence, it's a lot lower from what I've seen. I don't think even big things it has to be, but it is a factor that's on your salary switch.
I think we also were shared information from one of our city attorneys that doing it by occurrence can be an administrative challenge and extra burden. So I just want to share that with council. I think if you're on council and you're doing the work with the council member, you know what is expected and what should be happening, and it is my opinion that we should fairly employ and do a one-time payment for council members.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's gonna be times in where you're able to do more, and there's gonna be times when you're able to do less, and I think it's just be sure. I think the discussions that we had previously, the last time we talked about it, are great, and I do think the other council members we need to, and having the additional data, good luck finding a city that meets all those criteria.
I'd be surprised how easy it is.
Oh, maybe. Well, I'm glad we had you, Jeff.
I'm glad we do too, because I've been doing my own research to try to see where we line up. Not only just even in Georgia, but, other areas that might be similar to ours outside of Georgia, just to kind of see what everybody's doing economically, so to speak. And I do think we're in the right range that we've been discussing. So I did want to throw that out there based on what I'm saying. We'll find out how your numbers come out as compared to that.
And I do like the idea of having a full council here.
Yes.
We
Definitely.
get numbers from you in advance of the next work session to be able to review those and come to council. Prepared to have that.
What's the date for the next work session?
July 23rd.
Good today. Yeah.
To table this discussion until the next work session, July 23rd, 26th.
July 20th, okay.
Do we need to make a motion on that?
I have my calendar said July 30th.
Is there a second on that?
I want to verify the date.
I have a different date. What do you have?
I have the 30th
of March. Remember the 30th?
for the 5 weeks.
Yeah, there are 5 dates from that month.
Okay, that's why and my calendar,
Jay, have we given you the wrong date?
No, the 23rd is the 4th.
Okay. It's the 30th, I think.
we go for the last.
That was in my, yeah, it's July 30th.
And then my motion to July 30th. So work session.
And I will second.
All in favor? Okay. So we'll get that on that next work session then, okay? Please. Okay, discussion downtown overlay boundary amendment. Joe, why don't you come up? I think everybody's very aware of what's going on. Who gives a synopsis?
So with everybody being aware of the goal there, I'll just talk about this. You've done to make sure everything's been taking place properly. So we did file the application. So it is on record at City Hall. A letter was sent to both owners, and we've also touched base with both owners via phone call. They're very aware of what's happening. We have placed signs on both properties facing the roadway, and we did advertise in the local paper on the 14th Sunday. We will be having a public hearing and planning and zoning meeting on June 30th, 6 p.m. here. And all those documents are sent to the planning and zoning committee. They're also very aware of what's taking place before. I think the committee, with the exception of our new member, we're all here for that.
That meeting's at 6 or 7?
6.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, thank you, Joe. We'll go ahead and move on to new business. And we will invite our representative from Globe Life staff. Actually, Joe, do you want to speak first? Do you want to talk a little bit about what Seth is doing or? just want-
I love Steve.
Huh?
You can
Come on up,
talk
sir.
about
And if you would, just go ahead, tell them your name and something that.
If you have other people lead, yeah, or other council members, that's.
So, I'm Seth Bowman. I'm with, I'm currently with the Wilson Agency at Gainesville. My director and I were chosen to open a new office just outside of Atlanta in Marietta area, Cumberland. And essentially what we do is I specifically focus on businesses. We take advantage of what's called a Section 125. And what that is we're able to provide benefits to employees under the umbrella of the business or the city, counties. And it's, we utilize that group rate to provide more affordable policies. But it's the employees' policies. So they cover it, it wouldn't cost taxpayers a dime. And they also get to keep it. So I never like to say should they leave, I'll say should they retire, it stays with them. So it's what we would consider affordable. The rates, they stay the same. The time that you look at life or cancer or an accident, critical illness, there's a lot there that we can do. At that time, that's what you pay. We also look at spouses, children, and even grandchildren. So we look at your whole family dynamic. Let's see. I think it's important to point out one, and I'm going to circle back real quick. With my director and I getting chosen to open a new office. I'm not here to gloat, but it's not just a financial, it wasn't just a financial decision. It was also based off of our team and the quality and the care that we provide to all of our clients. It's important to kind of what sets us apart is that you're not calling a 1-800 number. You're actually getting a hold of me. I have a team, so I can't always be available 365, 24/7, but I also have people I can rely on that will definitely handle any concerns in 24 hours. So we refer to it as persistency, and mine is the highest. It's just over 91%. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of our team for providing that care. I come from a health hospital outpatient background. I know quality, especially when I'm working with underserved or lower income areas, quality and equal quantity. That's what makes people come from. So that's our focus. I don't want to say we help steal from government. We kind of do. We have a lot of what we provide is pre-tax. So then when I talk to business, so you're there, the business is saving on their bike and their payroll taxes. And the employees are also saving a little bit on their taxes because of the pre-tax savings.
Is this the type of, you offer services that you would come in, you would talk to our employees, say, these are the things that are available, they can pick and choose things that they're interested in. And then, is there a minimum amount that they have to do?
No, the only minimum is that you have the business. The city has a minimum of 5 W-2 employees. That's the only minimum. And I actually, the way we approach it is we ask, should we move forward, we would get a roster of employees. And we would look, it's very important for us to sit down with each person individually. We have an assessment that we complete where we kind of get an idea, okay, what do you have? What's your family history? Who all's in your family? And who needs, and how can you make it fit your budget?
But if the employee decides to buy into it, or a council member decides to buy into it, does the payment then, because of the tax savings, come directly from the city?
They
And
come
you're-
from-
Go ahead.
It's payroll deducted.
Okay.
So, you never pay ahead. So, if you should choose something, let's use this month as an example. Your payroll deduction will begin July 1st. And then that first bill would come to the city. And then that bill would be paid based off of what's already been deducted.
Seth, let me ask, when you say a minimum of 5 W-2 employees, that's just what we have on record, or is that the minimum number of participants?
That's just what you have to have on record.
Okay.
It essentially is to open an account. So, yeah, that's the only minimum.
If we should fall under that 5, hopefully we wouldn't, but
You're good. Yeah, it's just.
as long as we plan to rehire, we're in good shape.
You know, there's always creative solutions. I've had businesses with 3 people or 4 people, they're not counting, say, doctor's wife is on the payroll. It's not that stringent, and we want to make sure we provide everybody, and that's more of a work life. Goal.
When that employee leaves, how is that, how do they take care of it?
I typically have pretty good relationships with all the payroll personnel that I work with. There's a couple different ways. One is they'll contact me and say, hey, so is no longer with us. And I will look them up, I'll give them a call, and I'll help them. The term we use is conservative. So what I contact them and I say, hey, you get to keep these, and we move it over to bank. We also have online billing. If the city would choose to do that way, which is that easy, I recommend it. You actually can go in, if somebody leaves, you can remove them online or the invoice, and then I would get a notification to reach out and contact that person.
Are there any administrative fees that go on this?
Are there any restrictions? I mean, I don't even know what all the
Yes.
offerings are. So I will use health insurance as a criteria for, sometimes you hear about pre-existing condition.
We do not require a health assessment, but I do ask certain questions. Have you had cancer in the last 10 years? Have you had a heart attack, stroke, heart disease, autoimmune disorder in the last 3 years? Your driver's license has been in the last 3 years. That's maybe high blood pressure. Most of the time, I say if you have high blood pressure, people say, yes, it is under control. Yes, okay, good. But that's the nice part about doing it more under a business that we don't require any blood work or we're not to be swallowing anybody's mouth, since more or less there's 5 or 6 questions. And of course, I do want to point out too, especially something like life insurance and your cancer coverage, it's based off of age. So that is another thing. A lot of times when people ask me for a raise, and I'm like, well, I can give you a rate just for you, but it could be different for somebody else. I can pretty much provide life insurance to those people, even if they have a pre-existing condition. But sometimes we kind of have to weigh, is the price really worth? So those are the things that you should be speaking to everybody.
Would the only additional administrative work in office be just sending the payment via payroll? Would that be it?
Yeah. So we split the floor Tuesday, and I mean, because utilize QuickBooks and that easy. Takes just a few minutes to type in brief post tax deductions, and then the invoice will come to the phone.
Right now.
And we're looking at maybe available to full-time employees and council members,
Well,
if that's what the council agrees on. All the way.
all of it.
That includes students.
No, because they're more basic integrated. So yes, you will,
Verify. Okay. Okay. Who do you have? Anybody close by in this program?
Well, I can list off the multiple cities. State of Auburn, I'm actually meeting Norcross is making theirs, you guys are talking about how the government takes forever. Norcross is moving at a snail's pace. We have Woodstock, Alberta, we're meeting in September. Tequila, Lawrenceville, I mean, Stevens County, Madison's close, correct?
Yeah.
And Park County.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, if you need any recommendations, I did ask them to get those to you too, but my partner and I have, I don't know why we have a niche with a lot of the government offices, and as we're kind of spreading out a little bit, we always do short. Whoops, like Conyers, my partner's meeting with the city of Oxford today.
Okay.
So hopefully,
Right.
those will be some close ones.
I like that it's portable.
Yes, yeah, it's long term, so with it being portable, when I sit down with someone, I'm not looking to do $500,000, $1 million, that's not what we're focused on. We're focused on, and I like to kind of joke on what's gonna put you in that coffee can and just bury in the backyard. You know, that it's probably gonna be around 50,000, 10, 20 years.
Something that people don't plan for.
Yes, yeah.
That creates a burden on their family.
And making sure their kiddos are covered, because nobody wants to talk about that, but the sooner you do it, it's next to nothing. So when your kid takes it over and it says $100,000 policy and they're paying $15 a month, I mean, that's
great.
good.
Any other questions?
So that's your last interview?
Don, D-O, and D-A.
Thank you, Steph. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Hey, Joe. Ready? Two, so new, the next one, retirement resolution 2606.
Hello.
Thank you, Joe. Before you can start, would you clarify for council why there's a 2606 and 2607? Just the difference in them.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll kind of start with why we have to do this. So in April, we voted on the benefits for retirement. However, administrative oversight, it's a fancy word, but I forgot to do this part. There is a resolution that is required to be adopted locally. Resolution 2606 is for the 407B adoption agreement. 2607 is for the 401A defined contribution adoption agreement. So the two different accounts, because they are separate funding mechanisms, there has to be two separate resolutions. And just as a reminder, the way it works is an employee does a certain percentage into their account. Whatever we're matching goes into a separate account, so that it's not mixed funds by them. So there's two different accounts for it. By that being that way, we do have to do a resolution separately.
Thank you. I had that question earlier, and that's why I was asking.
Thanks, that.
And nothing is changing inside of the resolutions. It's just the formal documentation of what was presented in April. That was voted on. So if there's any questions on the resolutions.
I do have a couple.
Yes.
The age catch-up, the 50 catch-up limit and the 457 catch-up limit, is that?
So that has no effect on us. That's more of a federal limitation on how much you can invest into these accounts a year. So I believe the annual amount right now for 457B plan is $27,000. This usually gives an extra $1,000 to be able to kind of play catch up with retirement. It's the same as with a IRA account where it's usually $7,000, then they allow you $8,000 if you're over a certain age.
Okay, all right. On the, I'm going to stick with 2026-06 first. I want to make sure that the date in on page AA2, the date says effective May 1st, 2026.
Right, that's
We're
being
going to switch
corrected.
that?
Yes, that's being corrected. I'm
Okay.
working with Randy Briskin right now. So
Great.
that's that.
Great. Student employees are not going to be eligible for this, right?
Correct.
Okay. When somebody may be on FMLA and they don't have enough time approved, do they still approve, do they still get the contribution? I guess that's the next one, but.
If this might be more of a Jay question, but I think if you're on FMLA, it doesn't affect your time served accrual,
Okay,
because it's a federally protection program.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that we're clear on that before we come across that situation, if we come across that, so that we know what we're doing before we get there. It's a fine on the minimum period of contributions. When your position intended to be 6 months, not to exceed development service. So for instance, our city clerk, who was already an employee, you will be given credit for those years that you've been
Yes.
employed. But I'll double check on that. And then employee vested your contributions. So if an employee works with us for a year and a half, we have been contributing to them. They're not here for that full 2 years. All of those contributions from us, from the city, will not go to them. They have to be vested for the full 2 years before they get those contributions.
Right.
Our council member eligible for
As far as ability to enroll, they would be to the vote, but they would still have to go through the compensation approval process. So not immediately. And it's not even budgeted this year for its elections.
From a logistics standpoint, council would be eligible if we set all of the legal things in place.
Why I asked that question is retirement benefits are considered salary increases.
That's true. Okay. But not this year. Okay. Those are my questions. Anyone second that? This is gonna be on the next agenda for the council meeting then, is that correct? Okay, so you can vote on it that. Resolution 2026-06, the contribution part from the city. Can I ask questions on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're not gonna be offering this to independent contractors,
No.
either the program or the contribution.
So I think it has to be a W-2.
Can you remind me of how much is being contributed per employee?
Yes, up to 5%. And that's base salary, so it does not include overtime, wages, or, say they got a, end of year, increase, one-time increase, it would exclude those.
And this is a budgetary item that we've already made.
Yes.
Okay. And then if they decide to do a contribution on their part, we will meet their contribution by
So for each pay period, it would be, so it's 1% for the. It gets a little confusing. So it's 100% for the first 3%. And then for each additional percent up to 5%, it's half, well, 5% plus. So they would have to get all the way up to 7% for to get the full 5%.
If I go over that again. It's over that time. Sorry, Joe. It was the only-
Yeah, it will be up to you to make sure we have the right amount in the budget each year. Come back. So, no, that's part of your responsibility, Joe.
And just so everyone knows, it was also calculated into FICA contributions.
Any other questions? Real different getting this done.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah. This is really great. Okay, so we will have that as a vote on the next agenda also, for the council meeting. And is there any public comment? No. There is no executive session today. And so is there a motion to adjourn work session?
I will make the motion to adjourn the work session.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, please. Unanimous. Thank you very much. If you haven't met Brad, guys, you introduce yourself.
Hold on. I think it was.
Huh?
I think it's a little.